Hi, Joanne Taeuffer, Healdsburg Museum Docent again. In the last video, I told you about what the downtown looked like when I was a kid and how I escaped this one-horse town to go to Cal and start a career. Well, my escape from Healdsburg was, let's say, incomplete. After 50 years living in Southern California and then Berkeley, Jerry and I moved back to the country during COVID. But I want you to understand it took a worldwide pandemic to do this, right? Full disclosure, we always had ties to Healdsburg, including family, friends, a property we had bought on Hayden Street, where we live now. Anyway, here's what I found, the changes in Healdsburg between 1970, before the city even imagined something like Healdsburg, like Beverly Healdsburg, and 2020. In the year 2000, Hotel Healdsburg opened. I was living in Berkeley, and when I came to Healdsburg and saw the hotel, I was stunned. It looked like Soma, like the restaurants where I would go to dinner with friends and business associates in those days, Soma being a very trendy place at that time. And this was the inflection point. The town has continued to become more upscale and draw more visitors every year. But there was another outcome of the changes. The town started to think that the rest of the old buildings around the plaza were of value, and there would be no more wholesale teardowns. Per the RUDAT recommendations, downtown buildings would be rehabilitated instead of razed like the block of Healdsburg Avenue across from the plaza. But as Mayberry Healdsburg changed to Beverly Healdsburg, the old plaza buildings had to change to fit the demographic of new customers. More upscale uses, more uses of interest to recreational visitors, including shopping. And here's what the area around the plaza looks like now. Garrett's Hardware has become the Matheson. The Cruise building converts from local services into a Four Sisters Inn and shopping that appeals especially, I think, to recreational shoppers. Old City Hall becomes a diner and shopping with wine tasting on the side. And Center Street, well, here's what it looks like. Well, here's what it looks like today. We have the downtown bakery, book and art store, and Kinsmoke. Now, the downtown bakery is a special case. It has deep roots here. It arrived in the 1980s, long before the transformation of downtown seemed completely assured. And it was established by the pastry chef of Chez Panisse, the fancy restaurant in Berkeley. But the reason it was here was because Lindsay Shear was Lindsay Remeliff, who grew up on East Side Road. And she was coming home to open a business in a little town she loved, not necessarily an up-and-coming wine destination. Although it certainly added some prestige to our little burg at the time when we really could use it. And Kinsmoke has the eagle over the door that tells you that's where the post office used to be. And at the end of the block, where Melody Music and Little Folks Shop were, is a new innovation, in-town wine tasting. In fact, there are about 30 in-town wine tasting rooms, and the vibe couldn't be more different than the old Italian Swiss colony experience. And on Plaza, that great old 1907 Greek temple building, the Farmers and Mechanics Bank then, well, it looks about the same, but you're going to have to take my word for it, because it's mostly covered with trees. It's been cut up into clothing store, art gallery, jewelry store, also tattoo parlor and barbershop. And the rest of Plaza looks like this. Now, sometimes the changes have been subtle. Rainsong shoes used to be Schwab shoes. The only difference is in the old days, it was a couple of old men selling Florsheim shoes and farmer boots. And now it's young people selling sandals and cute tennis shoes. Vic and Sis's bar became John and Zeke's. Today it's Duke's, which is a little more upscale version of the old drinking establishments. And the Bank of America interior is completely transformed. Notice those arches in the back. We're going to see them again in a minute. Here's the interior on the bottom floor. It's Harris Art Gallery and wine tasting, plus other retail uses upstairs. And here's the upstairs area. You can see the arches there on the left side of this hallway. Now the front of the bank looks the same. This project won a Historic Preservation Award from the museum for adaptive reuse a couple of years ago. Now, a word about how much work it is to maintain these buildings. When the new steakhouse was being built, I stuck my nose where it didn't belong to see what was going on inside. And what I saw was big metal braces going up the walls and over the ceiling and back down, which I'm assuming is holding the place together and maybe making it earthquake safe. But it's a big effort to keep the buildings working. Now, here was the first generation of the 3-story Grand Hotel on West Street, and it becomes the 21st century Grand Hotel on Healdsburg Avenue. So that's how Mayberry RFD became Beverly Healdsburg. And you can see more upscale uses as well. The renovated Madrona, the Montage, Enzo Village, the Mill District, the Foley Pavilion, which in my youth was a supply store for farm chemicals like sprays and fertilizers. And there also are remains of Mayberry, if you look carefully. The barbershop sign on Plaza Avenue, similar signs on Healdsburg Avenue, and all the restored architecture around the plaza. And here we are again at the plaza, which seems like the unchanging center of town. Oh yes, a new gazebo, expanded fountain, but the essence remains. It's always been full of people, everything from old guys trading lies to families having picnics, to children running everywhere. And today it continues for both locals and visitors to enjoy the space. And sharing these history talks with you here on YouTube seems like an important way to preserve the old-timey version of our town while it continues to grow and thrive. Thanks for listening.